In today's program, the Thai Prime Minister reveals his policy stance on the Omicron variant. The CEO of AirAsia Group says the current reaction to the variant is, quote, a huge overreaction. And legalized gambling in Thailand? We'll find out in today's program. Happy Friday! You're watching Thailand News Today, bringing you the latest headlines in Thailand and beyond. So be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the news. The Thai Prime Minister has ruled out introducing another national lockdown as a result of the Omicron COVID-19 variant. However, he says the reopening of bars and other nightlife venues may have to be delayed. According to a report, Prayut Chan-o-cha says existing screening measures for international arrivals are sufficient without having to shut down the country. The PM says the government now needs to strike a balance between protecting the health of the public and reviving the economy. Following the emergence of the Omicron variant, a proposal to replace PCR testing of international arrivals with antigen testing has been pushed back. And, according to the Prime Minister, the plan to reopen the country's nightlife may have to be postponed also, saying that the government would like to wait and see for a month. Meanwhile, officials are still searching for travelers who arrived in Thailand from countries in southern Africa before the emergence of Omicron was known. The CEO of AirAsia Group says governments should not panic over the emergence of the Omicron COVID variant and that officials should instead focus on reducing the cost of PCR testing. Tony Fernandez says that the current response is, quote, a huge overreaction. We don't know anything about this variant yet. Let's wait and see before we jump the gun. Fernandez added that the world is now in a much better place to control the virus and deal with variants like Omicron, given the new treatments that are being made available. He went on to say that there are Merck pills and Pfizer pills coming out. We are vaccinated. There are boosters available. I'm feeling much more bullish, and I am not doom and gloom. Governments need to use common sense and see what is needed. I think travel restrictions are temporary and the world is global. No matter how much we close the borders, the viruses will travel. However, the AirAsia boss has slammed the high price of PCR testing, which is an entry requirement for many countries, including Thailand. Fernandez says the high cost of the tests risks deterring would-be travelers, no matter how much they long for an overseas holiday. However, he did praise Thailand for its attempts to ease up on measures such as mandatory quarantine in a bid to attract more foreign tourists. Thailand could be legalizing casinos in the near future, as the House of Representatives recently voted in favor of setting up a 60-seat committee to consider the opening of casinos, which are still illegal in Thailand. Opening the venues for gambling is expected to draw in more income from foreign tourists. 310 MPs voted in favor, while 9 were against and 10 abstained. Earlier this year, Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha said he would consider the legalization of gambling. His statements came at a time where numerous COVID clusters were linked to illegal gambling dens, and elusive gamblers were said to be a problem for health officials trying to track them down. And I've got Sean standing here from 5 Star Marine. Sean, a bright sunny day. We're on a beautiful deserted island, but tell me what's happening with these trees?
Well, this is one of those Instagrammable locations right now. There's the trees here. There's a beautiful little bridge that we can go and take a photo up, and obviously no one here as well, nice and quiet.
So what is the name of this island?
This is Ko Nakaye. This is normally like the last stop island where we come out of Phang Bay. I'm going to come here, maybe have a swim, relax, maybe have a drink, go to the restaurant, and then off home from here.
So an island that's looked after by some local families here, a nice long white beach, and just one of the many beaches that are waiting for you to come back at the moment. How many islands are now available for you to go and visit?
Within 1 hour of Phuket now, we're up to 11 destinations that we can get out to, and multiple islands in each of those destinations.
And you've got Phang Na, you've got Krabi, you've got Koh Phi Phi as well.
Correct. It's the time to get out and go boating.
All right, so you got the whole islands to yourself. So come back to Phuket, back to more of Thailand News Today.
Possible deportation and jail time is looming for a Cambodian refugee monk who was recently detained by Thai authorities, despite the recent condemnation from the UN. Last month, 3 Cambodians under UN refugee protection were deported from Thailand and arrested in their home country. On Wednesday, Thai authorities arrested a Cambodian monk and an environmental activist named Bob Bet, who is staying inside Thailand with international refugee status at a temple in Samut Prakan. The detained abbot has expressed his concern about being jailed if he would be sent back home to Cambodia. Bob Bet was known for being an outspoken critic of Cambodian PM Hun Sen, who was recently given a default position to represent troubled Myanmar in the ASEAN bloc and is currently jailed at the Suan Plu Immigration Detention Center. In an audio message to AFP reporters, the monk said, quote, "I will be jailed like other refugees if they deport me to Cambodia." The news agency reported Cambodian police had not been aware of his arrest, and Phnom Penh has not requested his imprisonment either. International diplomats, lawyers, and human rights organizations have then flocked to save him from being deported back to Cambodia, with a member of the Thai parliament also attempting to intervene. The director of the Cross-Cultural Foundation says the monk is unlikely to face a fair trial in Cambodia, as Hun Sen's administration has stifled opposition and activists by curtailing democratic freedoms and using the judiciary to suppress them. The deputy head of Human Rights Watch Asia chimed in as well, saying that Phnom Penh was attempting to quiet criticism from the exiled population in Thailand. A Bengal tiger has reportedly been roaming across 3 provinces, and wildlife officials have been searching for the wildcat, which was last seen leaving a wildlife sanctuary in Uthai Thani. The tiger, named Vijit, is wearing a collar, and the signal emitted from the collar showed the big cat is in a eucalyptus plantation in the neighboring province of Kamphaeng Phet, but officials have not been able to find the tiger. Wildlife officials have also been looking for the tiger in Nakhon Sawan, a province between Uthai Thani and Kamphaeng Phet. A report from the Bangkok Post says officials have only been able to find footprints. The Protected Area Regional Office in Nakhon Sawan told reporters that authorities have been ordered to quickly find the tiger because it is believed that the wildcat might be moving towards villages. An injured baby elephant has been rescued and is receiving medical treatment in the eastern province of Chonburi. Fa Sai, whose name means fair sky, is thought to be around 3 months old. She was rescued after getting her leg caught in a hunter's trap and then being shot in the shoulder several times. The baby elephant was found by passersby on Sunday. Her right foot was caught in the trap and she had a number of gunshot wounds on her shoulder. She was rescued by wildlife officials and is now being cared for by a veterinarian. According to the report, Fa Sai will have to have her wounds treated daily until she's recovered enough to have surgery to remove the fragments of bullets. She is being given milk from other female elephants, and the plan is to find a mother elephant who will adopt her. A junior police officer is facing attempted murder charges after he fired a gun at a passenger bus in Bangkok's Bang Chan district on Tuesday. A video of the incident shared on social media shows a motorcyclist cutting off the bus, forcing it to stop. He walked up to the bus driver and then went back to his motorcycle where he picked up a gun. The bus driver drove off and the motorcyclist followed and fired a shot at the bus. The bullet hit a side mirror and no one was injured. The The bus driver told police the motorcyclist cut him off to ask him if the emissions from the bus were within legal limits. The man then went back to his motorcycle and pulled out a gun. The bus conductor filmed the incident and turned it into the police. The junior police officer turned himself in the same day and reportedly told police that he was stressed from an argument with his girlfriend. The man is facing charges of attempted murder, carrying a gun in public areas, and firing it without reason. And that wraps up our report for this week. Thailand News Today will be back on Monday. Meanwhile, stay tuned for our other featured stories over the weekend.